Shalom Aleichem. It's King Brittany Chanel, and you are back on my Mocha Modesty channel. King Brittany means the king comes before me, and a king is the descendant and a ruler of a divine race. That divine people being Yasharal, and we are not lost, we are scattered. Hey to the Gentiles that are following after Yah's righteousness, okay? So we are back with yet another video. Now, you all know that I've been giving, these revelations on this channel about relationships, modesty. Modesty is the fleeing away from vanity. Modesty helps us stay in tune with the Most High, and it helps us to flee stuff like idolatry, that in things like lust and all those other sins that come when you're immodest. Okay, the Most High told us in Torah that the meek shall inherit the earth, okay? The last shall be first and the first shall be last. So, in this race called life, the ones who show endurance and the ones who are fortified through the spiritual warfare, the trials, and they overcome, those are the ones in the end who are going to get crowned, okay? Plain and simple. Now, let's talk about a situation and things that go on in our community. And I've talked about this a little bit as far as why some of our marriages and relationships are not working in our community. And one of those things are jealousy that is coming from the men, right? So there's a bunch of these male podcasts, and y'all know I don't get into the agenda war. I'm not really with these. I don't really rock with these female podcasts either, because like I said, what the goal is from that is to get men and women going in their same direction, if you know what I mean. Okay, like, I mean, you can find little small gems of truth on some of the things, like, because in certain situations, some things that some of these people say can be true, but also you have to know that the enemy takes truth and likes to twist and add things to pervert the truth, okay? And the bottom line is the truth that we're living in a fallen society, a fallen world, okay? And it causes things to get out of the natural order that the Most High set forth, right? One of those things that are out of order is that when I talked about as far as like the garden and everything with Adam, Adam basically saying it was this woman that you gave me. So a lot of our men have taken on that same serpentine-esque type of mindset. Like, the enemy is also jealous of the woman's seed, because the woman's seed brings forth demon crushers. The woman's seed, the Most High was very protective of his daughter, Eve, right? So because the serpent beguiled her, he tricked her, the Most High has him crawling on his belly, and he really got dealt with. Now, the woman, his daughter, she got consequences too. Like, women got consequences and men got consequences also, because falling out of order of the headship, right? Hearkening to the voice of his wife instead of hearkening to the voice of Yah. And Yah was very clear. He gave him instructions. Adam did not listen to those instructions, and he got dealt with. Well, a gift that the Most High has given women is definitely beauty, and basically women, their beauty is very powerful, and we are instructed not to use our beauty for wickedness and evil, right? Even though we are the weaker vessel, we have the power of influence, and that influence comes through beauty, right? And so the enemy was very much aware of that, and so this is why he comes to women giving them things. Like, Azazel gave women things like makeup, taught them how to do root cuttings and all kind of stuff. They gave men a bunch of stuff basically to get them jammed up. So beauty is one of those things that it's natural, it comes from the Most High, but when it starts to get perverted, that's when you have wicked things going on, right? I talk about that on the channel as far as like vanity and that sort of stuff. So basically, because women have the gift of beauty, and beauty just doesn't mean like just physical looks, okay? It's just basically the gift of being able to be male companionship, right? So Adam felt alone in the garden, and the Most High saw that, and he gave him a helpmate, and that companionship that female companionship, that feminine energy was used to basically, get Adam to be happy, right? He was happy, he was into it, to have a companion. And so women have that gift, and one of the gifts that we have is, because we are women, and because men desire the helpmate, and men, they are very visual, it automatically gives us the advantage of, with our influence, of having more options than they do. Okay, so I laid the foundation, the groundwork. Are y'all following me? Let me know in the comment section. So because we have more options than men, because we don't have the same level of, because they love to beat their chest and say, oh, they're leaders and the rest of this stuff. But with being a leader, it's different forms of accountability, right? So because of the hierarchy, and because we were bestowed this gift of being the helpmate and our role of femininity, it has given us the advantage of more options. Because men, when they, when they look upon a woman, they could be attracted to women for a myriad of reasons. Like, every man is kind of different, okay? Well, they are different. They have different visual appeals that appeases them. They have different emotional appeals, like, different things that attract men. But the major thing is, men, a lot of them like to be around female energy. Okay, that's the major thing, right? Due to the inner, when they're in the order of the Most High, that inner feeling in them, it's natural for them to want to help mate and companionship from a female. Okay, and this is why you see a lot of men on these podcasts are kind of jealous and bitter, because oftentimes they feel ignored because they're not really in their correct thought process or mindset. They're in the serpentine mindset of wanting to compete with the woman, and they want to also have as many options as women do. So a man that's admitting this is a creator I like to watch. His podcast is very interesting. His name is King Riches. Now, I told y'all I like to hear different perspectives, because if you listen to too many female perspectives, it's not going to tell you the mindset of what men are thinking. And if you're a male and you listen to men talk about women, it's not going to tell you how a woman thinks. So King Riches is going to break down the statistical data about why women have the advantage as far as more options than men. And this is what has a lot of men in their bag, because they cannot accept the reality that women, just because they are women, have more options. People pay more attention to them. This is why people love to get women influencers. This is why there's a lot of men who want to compete with women, or they want to be in women's spaces like sports or beauty or just things that are female related. Or they even, like Tyler Perry, dressing up like a woman to get women to pay attention to his storylines. This is why you have that going on, because it goes back to the beginning of the enemy being jealous of the influence that the woman has, and the consequences of him beguiling the woman in the garden. So this is what the men are now doing, the rebellion of what some of these men, not all of our men are doing this, because some of the men acknowledge that it's off what some of these men are doing. But this is why you see a lot of men getting upset and wanting to compete with women. And that player stuff comes from the fact that they want to be able to have those level of options like women, but it just wasn't put in them to attract a bunch of options like that. The only way that men attract a bunch of options is if they have power, money, and like in some sort of influence. But even then, the attraction is not really genuine. It's an attraction to the power. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Or the security of finances, because that's natural for women. Even in the animal kingdom, animals are attracted to the birds that they provide a nest, or the peacock that shows out the most, the lion that shows that he is the king of the pride. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the science of it all, right? And then now you do have the Most High also balanced it out where women are more emotionally based due to them being their whole womanhood existing in sacrifice. In order to be a person that exists in sacrifice, you have to be emotional. Otherwise, you would not be getting into stuff like childbirth. You would not want to be it's a selfless act, right? So the women that they complain about, the modern women that they've created, that you see existing today in the animalistic form, the primal form of F women, I get some money form, are the ones that originally they were in the state of naivete, that Eve like state, right? Able to be beguiled, the girlhood state, where pure and innocence, bright eyed and bushy tailed. And then when they get out in the world, they ain't have no, a lot of, men in the melanated community talk about how the girls come from the single parent household. Ain't have no dad to tell them about the wolves in the sheep's clothing. Wasn't telling them don't be a silly woman laden with sin. And then the wolves creep into the houses of these silly women. And then now you have the women that's on, they on they for the streets. They on vulture vibes. You could just give me the money. Yeah, we could get an open relationship going. I don't really want you. Give me the bag. City girl life. Hot girl summer. That comes from hurt and not really trusting men, and a repeated cycle of men not really showing up for that woman. And so what they say is, I got to have my own security. I don't really want you. Just give me the bag, because the bag has never failed me. I could buy what I need with the bag. I could live how I want to live with the bag. You know what I'm saying? And then if I want to do those relationships, those sensual things, it'll be for my personal benefit. That's how some of these women primarily think, in an archaic type of way, because they're in an animalistic state now after being dogged out. And a lot of men can't even deny this, because y'all talk about the pump and dump culture all the time. Like, some of y'all brethren admit that they lie and cheat and dog women out in the culture of the music. If you even listen to how the music is promoted, about how they do women, this is how, we have the female entertainers today that came from a perverse man's fantasies, where they talk all that nasty stuff in the music. Look at how B.I.G. was behind the Lil' Kim image. And, that sort of stuff goes on. I've been telling y'all this on this channel. Now, like I said, the men are jealous. Not all men, because some men exist in reality. That's the one thing that I agree with King Riches about, is that some men appreciate their reality and they know what it is. But you have some of these men that they don't want to accept that reality, that women have more options. They want to compete with women for the options. So this is why you see that. And another person that talked about that too was Tony Gaskins. You see the lame type of guy is the one who wants to dog all the women out because they've never had access to a bunch of women. So what happens is covetousness happens, right? Now, as a woman, you have a bunch of, even the most non-attractive women have a bunch of options. This is why he said, this is why they feel like bad bees or tens, right? So what happens is they're not really, women, we go off of emotion, right? You could get a bunch of options thrown at you, but if it's not the man you want, you gonna ignore the other messages that's in your DMs. Men with options, they like, I want them all. I need them all. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of them are not used to getting that sort of attention. And this is why you see a lot of these men upset that women do not want to give them a bunch of attention. Like, the reality is, you're not getting a bunch of women to sign up for stuff like polygyny and that, and being multiple women's and sister wives and the rest of that stuff, because women are a lot of the times, women are just not into the average guy. They're not. And it's not to say that there's not women that are not into the average type of guys, but you have to know your role and your reality. If you an average dude, don't be out here trying to be a player, trying to have all of these women and your money is not right. Or you have to be appreciative of where you're at. If a woman is nice and she feeling you and you know, a hardworking dude, that woman that's feeling you is not, it may not be that IG model that's getting a bunch of attention from dudes. It may not be that. And a lot of men do not want to accept that's where they're at. The only men that's getting a bunch of women is men that's either very, very attractive or they have power and the influence. So King Riches, I'm gonna play the clip and I want to hear y'all thoughts about that, and I'm gonna get back into my commentary.
It has long been suspected that most women only have eyes for the top percentile of men, but in the modern age, we have access to data to back this up. In an experiment run by Medium.com, they found that there was no equality amongst the genders when it comes to dating. The odds were heavily skewed in favour of women. In terms of attractiveness, they found that the bottom 80% of men were competing for the bottom 22% of women.
Listen to that. The first part of this this piece of information. The bottom 80% of men in terms of attractiveness are competing for the bottom 22% of women. So that means the bottom 22% of women have all these options of these bottom 80% of men. Isn't that like, bruh, if you do the math and actually think about it realistically, that is wild. Think about this, deep it. The bottom 80% of men are all, in terms of looks, are competing for the bottom 22% of women. So those women have a plethora of options. Those women have options. They're getting willy thrown at them all day long. So, you know, even those bottom set of women, they feel like they're bad bees. That's why you'll find that if you ask a lot of women to rate themselves, they will all say that they're 10s. All of them.
Now, here's where some of the men get upset. Some of the men that they covet the amount of options that women get, which affords them, you know, also different things where women are cashing in using their beauty as currency and stuff like that, which, you know, I'm not telling women to go do that, but it's a realistic thing, right? Some of these men who, you know, if you're a man realistically and you're an average looking guy, you're not gonna have a bunch of women knocking on your door, or you're a guy that you just have like a regular job. You're not gonna have a bunch of women knocking on your door, and a lot of men are upset about that because they feel invisible. Now, I have to also be honest on the other side of some of these men do attract women, but it may not be the women that they are lusting after, being those IGS models, or, you know, the women that they would wish they had access to, you know, and a lot of those men who, you know, if they desperately want that, they focus on the money. But if they don't, you know, have the money, a lot of men will fake like they're getting money so that they can try to attract those women. It's crazy. Like, I've seen a bunch of stories where, you know, men will fake like they're getting money to attract women, or they'll try to go get certain cars to attract women because they know that without those things, you know, regular women are not really, you know, especially in the age of social media where covetousness is going on. So even the regular women now are wanting what the level 10 women are, you know, have. And I, you know, this little rating system as far as looks, I'm not really in agreement with that, but I'm saying, like, in reality, there are some women that are very gorgeous, and then there are some women that are average looking. Like, it's just, you know, that's in any society. We have eyes, we can see, you know. I'm not one of those people that come up with the narrative, oh, beauty is subjective. No, there's some people that you can visibly see this is an attractive person, and there's some people that are, you're all right, you're cute. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But what he's saying, you know, as far as these statistics, is true. But I want y'all to know why a lot of these men are upset and wanting to compete and wanting to rest in their femininity is because they wish that they could have as many options as women. And this is why you see them complaining, talking about women hit the wall and all this stuff. Listen, when you're a person and you're happy, I'm not really concerned about who's getting with who and the rest of that stuff, because if you a happy and fulfilled person, that doesn't matter to you. But if you a person that you're not getting any play, no actions, this type of stuff is upsetting to you. And you look for these men that, you know, put this hate-filled comment out. Now, I'm not talking about King Richards, but podcasters that put that hateful, manosphere content out where they want to talk about, you know, women are the problem and the rest of this stuff. And I remember I did a video where I talked about Dr. Peterson, where he explained, like, sometimes men need to keep it real with themselves. Are you working on yourself? If you're unhappy with your body, are you working out in the gym? Are you, making yourself appealing to where you can attract women? Is your personality attractable to women? Is your look? First of all, you work on the look and then the money aspect. Not to say that all women are materialistic and the rest of that stuff, but again, the goal and the soul, the mission is for men to be protector, provider. That's in you see it in all areas, right? You see it in the human kingdom, you see it in the animal kingdom. That is something that the Most High put on males to protect and provide. And that doesn't just mean like monetarily. That means, like, are you protecting your woman emotionally? Are you leading that woman spiritually? Are you protecting that woman as far as like even physically? Are you making her feel safe as far as like her life force existence? Because that's what a lot of women are looking for in reality, right? That's what appeals to them in reality. And so I remember Dr. Peterson did a good video where he was talking about that. Like, you may be batting out of your league. You going for those women that you clearly know are into that. And so you're making yourself invisible, because you will be invisible to those women who are going after those top percentage of dudes, right? But he's also about to get into the fact that, a lot of these men are not even really having luck on these dating apps like Tinder and all this stuff. Like, it's getting deep, y'all.
When put into a graph, it looks like this. The area in blue represents the situations where women are more likely to like the men. The area in pink represents the situations where the men are more likely to like women.
Wow.
Ultimately, for a man of average attractiveness on Tinder, only 1 in every 115 girls is likely to swipe right on him.
Wow. Bruh, these statistics are wild. They're crazy, bruh. And everybody watching, make sure you hit the like button. This is very interesting and important information for all men to take into account, bro. No matter where you are or on the attractiveness scale, bruh. It is saying that it's determined that a man of average attractiveness would be liked by approximately 0.87% of women on Tinder, or in other words, 1 in 115. Bruh.
There it is. 1 out of 115, and all they need to be happy with is the one, because that's all you need is one. Because in a relationship, pouring into a person and finding your purpose in Yah, right? And you're pouring into that person, husband and wife, all you're gonna have time for really is the one person, and that's the original blueprint. You know what I'm saying? But we live in the Western society where infantilism is pushed. This is why you have rappers like Lil Baby, Young This, Young Thug, Young This, Lil This, right? Where the never grow up or ascend into manhood or womanhood thing is pushed. So they never get to the spiritual level of ascending to the fact of the perfect divine will that Yah has for you, which is the man, the husband and wife, man and woman, And then Yah as the head over it all. Leading and guiding your footsteps so that you're, in a divine relationship that nobody could put asunder. Oftentimes, the enemy is always kind of like trying to tell people what they don't have to try to create a void to say something is missing when you're really not missing or void of anything. I mean, the only thing I would say is if a person don't have Yah and they absent of light, then they are void of light and they're missing Yah in their life. They got to surrender to the Most High Yah to fill that void and to create wholeness. But the union with Yah as the head, man, husband and wife, man and woman, is the perfect union. That's it. When you start trying to add other stuff, as you seen when Eve started communicating with that serpent and, operating in girlhood, naivete, and it had that strange woman or a strange man type of situation going on, that's when people had problems. Always thinking about what you don't have is or what other people have, and wanting what other people have is covetousness. Yeah, women, as far as attractability, they have options, but realistically, women emotionally are not really trying to connect with a whole bunch of these people. And the women that are looking for attention and that sort of level is vanity. They have the siren spirit and they want attention for whatever reason. Like maybe they have emotional voids, didn't get attention from mom and dad, whatever the reason may be, or vanity is behind that. But again, we have to realize we live in a wicked and fallen world. But then you have men wanting to compete with that, and they want to try to be player of the year. And like how Meg Thee Stallion said, thinking he a player when he a player on the team, like it's kind of like you're not gonna beat women at having options, because women have options just because they exist. That is what nature is, and that is what it is. Men attract women by providership and showing the ability of being able to provide. That is the way it is. That is the natural order. That is the way that it is. And you're not getting more than one and all of that stuff. Like, you see these men that they try to juggle those women, but eventually it gets toppled over where none of the women want to be bothered. Or, they get busted out. They get called lames and all kind of stuff when they play those games. And it's just they keep trying to obtain something that is never going to be obtained. And the only men that are, like I said, are somewhat successful with that are the ones that have enough resources to achieve that. If you don't have those resources, chances are that's not happening for you, the multiple women type of thing. No woman realistically is that attracted to you, as you can see, to just want to be bothered with that. 1 in 115. If that one like you, you need to be appreciative to the Most High that He gave you the one. Okay, because trying to go after, like, that's like you give your child one fruit snack and they try to dig their whole hand in the whole bowl of fruit snack. You're gonna have fruit snacks falling all on the ground, and gonna only end up with one anyway, trying to chase after all of that. It's not gonna work for you. So you might as well get into your right mind and realize where you're at. Period. Y'all leave y'all thoughts on this. You get what I'm saying? This wasn't to try to come for men. This was just like a reality kind of talk. Y'all should go and watch the whole video, because it will help y'all understand why some men feel that they don't exist and they feel neglected, and they feel like they want feminine attention, but a lot of them really don't know how to go out and get it. So they seek these bugged out podcasts by some of these men. Not this man, King Richards, that I'm talking about, because he be having realistic information on there. But some of these male podcasters that kind of be selling these men dreams and stuff that ain't real, and kind of trying to play off of their pain of not being able to achieve all of these options that they dream about. That's my thoughts on this. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Definitely make sure y'all subscribe, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one.